grind was real, look, y'all, I literally came back. I didn't have no vehicle. I had to drop the rental car off. I got the vehicle, and excuse me, I dropped the rental car off, and I was just like, bro, like I made an announcement on Facebook and Instagram that I was back in Nebraska, and I was taking appointments. So I'm getting these appointments. When I tell you I was catching a bus, I had put all of like my lock stuff together in a roller bag, like a carry-on bag, and I had the mama size, the granny size, you know, the old school dryer, like with the handle. I was looking at stuff around, hopping buses. The blessing that I have, and I'm just extremely thankful of with my Omaha people, is my clients were even taking me to my next clients. Like, it was mad crazy. Like, the grind was real. Like, nothing would stop me. Like, if I had to walk like a mile to get to my next appointment, I did. There were places I had to go. They had roaches. Like, it was crazy. Some people didn't even have chairs. So I'm like literally having to do their hair on the floor. I have a picture. I have this old picture that I had up, and like one of my clients was sitting on the floor, and the dryer was literally drying their hair. When I tell y'all, I was rigging stuff up like to make something happen. Like, y'all gonna get your hair done. So I was doing that for a while, and then I was going back and forth. And then an older friend of mine had told me about this girl who allowed me to stay with her. So I stayed with her, and she was helpful for the time being. I had made some arrangements with her to see if she could bring me to my appointments, and she did that, and I had paid her for that because, you know, she wasn't paying that much for rent at her home. And so we decided to, like, you know, I just was like, well, I can help you out if you can help me out. So she was taking me to my appointments, and it had got to a point to where she was driving from Council Bluffs, Iowa, all the way out west, Omaha. Like, you guys, that's like a 30-minute drive. So if I'm doing an appointment and it takes me like an hour, and then I gotta, you know, I have to wait for her to come back out here just to take me probably like 15 minutes down the street, it just stopped working. So I had came up with an idea where I could come, like, the clients could come to me. And so my client she agreed, and so the client started coming to me out there in Council Bluffs. So it was just crazy. Like, it was just crazy. Now, she wasn't the cleanliest person, and I always felt like, you know, that's not something that I represent. Like, I want people to come to a clean, you know, atmosphere, and, you know, it feels cozy and it feels welcoming. Well, she had dog hair everywhere, and it just wasn't a good place. So I had saved up enough money, and I was able to get my license taken care of, because I wasn't able to, because when I had went to jail or whatever, they had revoked my license. So I was able to get like my license reinstated and stuff like that. And I ended up getting a rental car. Had a rental car. I was banging it out. I started traveling, doing hair. I had went to Chicago at one point, was doing my cousin's hair. I had went to shout out to Minnesota and was doing hair out there. Then, you know, I was just back and forth, like, you know, just doing hair. So it had got to a point to where I was spending more than I was making. And so there was this girl, and she was just like, well, you can come stay with me. So I ended up staying with her. I literally ended up staying with her, and everything was cool until I was just like I was still going and doing people's hair, and then I had talked to her about doing hair at her house, and it was cool. It was cool for me to do hair at her home. So it got to a point where I started making more money than her, and I was doing it outside her crib, and I felt like she started feeling some type of way. So she started abusing this situation, and she was taking my money, but she wasn't really paying her bills for real. And we was going on all these trips. She was getting all these things and stuff like that. But she also had told me that I also had a room, and I didn't have a room, and I ended up sleeping on a couch. And so I was just grinding out. I didn't care. I needed a place to lay my head. I needed a place to do hair. So I wasn't even tripping. I was giving her money because at the time she was going to school and everything like that. And yeah, it just started getting real weird. So I got into MLM, and I was working with a company. Well, you know, with MLM, you got your own business and you building your business. Well, you know, I wasn't getting as much support. I was getting support, but I wasn't getting that much support. And they ended up having a conference. And you know, like when you hear about all these successful people, you always hear about the sacrifices that you go through and how they had their sacrifices. And so I was like, well, you know, I know that this conference is coming up in December, and so I'm gonna stack my bread. I'm gonna get my ticket, and that's gonna be my exit. And so I had got my ticket early, and I got my ticket early, so I was supposed to fly out to St. Louis, and then I was gonna fly down to Orlando because I was meeting up with my homegirl out there, a homegirl I had met through the business. And so I saved up. It was the week of, and I saved up all that money. I saved up, I believe, at least about $1,500. I was selling my products, raw version, like it. I was selling like bricks. Like what if I have a moment where it sounds like I'm just like real life trapping for real, like they call my butter crack. So I was selling bricks of my log butter. I'm talking about not fully formulated or nothing. They just wanted the butter and they didn't care if they had to warm it up, whatever the case may be. So I was selling that, and I was doing hair and everything like that. So before I leave, like I didn't get my event ticket at the time, because I remember I had to take that money and I paid for my my actual event ticket, and that knocked down the price, right? I had to get I ended up paying a girl her rent, pay half of the rent or whatever what she wanted, and then she wanted a bill paid. And I'm the type of person, I wasn't trying to burn any bridges, because it was some things that I had to leave there. And so I ended up leaving that at her house or whatever. I paid that rent, knocked down my money even more. So I literally only had like about $300 left. And so the day I was supposed to fly out, I was doing hair, and I literally missed my flight. So in the midst of, before I had got to the actual airport, I had to run to Walgreens because I only had prepaid cards. Like, I didn't have a bank account. Like, my stuff was just, it wasn't, I didn't have good relationships with banks. I'll just say that. And so I had prepaid cards. So I had to load the cards in order for me to get like my luggage onto the plane and everything like that. And so I was running. I had rushed to do that. That's the reason why I missed my flight. So they were having issues at Walgreens trying to load my card. And so with those issues, I had to hurry up and run. So I took my cash back. And so I get to the airport. They're like, you missed your flight. I start bawling my eyes out, y'all. I bawled my eyes out because I'm like, how am I going to get to this convention? I don't even have, like, at the time, I felt like I didn't have enough. I was like, how am I going to get to Orlando? Because that's where the event was. It was in Orlando, Florida. And I'm like, I was supposed to meet her in St. Louis and this and third. So something in me told me to just go ahead and check the flight just straight from Nebraska, Omaha to Orlando. Y'all, it was the exact amount of money I had in my pocket. I paid, it was like a dollar over. Was a dollar, it was a dollar under how much it cost for me to get there. So the flight was for the next day. And so I had put out a post on Facebook and was like, hey, you guys, like, okay, it looks like I'm here one more day, and my flight, you know, like my flight didn't leave till like later on that evening. I think it was like 3 o'clock or something, 3 or 4. So I took that first part of the morning. I knocked out a couple clients or whatever, and I ended up making just enough to pay for my stay in Orlando, and just enough to get my bags on a flight. Y'all, I flew broke. I had no money. I was crying to my friend. I was just like, girl, like, I don't know what I'm about to do. Like, I'm supposed to be ended up going to Vegas, and I don't have any money. Like, I can't even afford to eat on this trip. And I literally just spent all my money because this and that. So I was broke. I was broke, y'all, when I went to Orlando. So everybody was just like, keep praying, you know, everything is good. Pay in mind, you guys, yes, I believe I'm very, very spiritual. I believe in a higher power. So I'm praying and praying. Y'all, when I'm in Orlando, my business partners, they pay for us to eat. So I was able to eat while I was on the trip. Then everybody was leaving out Sunday. My flight didn't leave out till Monday. So one of my business, like one of the people who was with us, I was just like, anybody leaving Monday? Like my ticket, and like everybody else that I bunk with, like they're leaving out Sunday. I was like, I need a place to stay on Monday. So luckily, there was somebody who was staying till Monday. He ended up getting a suite, so it was like a double bed suite, and I was able to sleep in it. I was able to sleep in the bed, and he also paid for me to eat. So y'all, the whole trip was paid for. I just had to get there. I gained so much knowledge from that. I met so many dope people, and then after that, like I ended up after that, like I just built relationships with people. So here it is. I'm flying to Vegas. If anybody knows how Frontier works, like you have to pay for your luggage. I don't have no money. So how am I supposed to get my bags onto this flight, right? So I ended up So I ended up calling my cards because I'm like, man, look, something told me to call my cards. I'm like, man, I ain't got no money in these cards. So on my Walmart card, I had like a penny. What would do with a penny? Y'all, I called my other card. It said I had $200 on there. I had $200 on my card, y'all. So I get to the airport. I have just enough to get my bags on a flight, and I have just enough to get me to my destination in Vegas. Back broke again. Y'all, I'm nervous to tell my business partner that I'm linking up with in Vegas that I'm broke, right? This is how I know God is real, okay? So I get there, and you know, I just had like a few dollars. Like I didn't have a whole lot of money. He lived very, very minimalistic. Like I'm talking about beans and rice, red beans and rice, sweet potatoes, bananas, and that was it. That was it. When I tell y'all, I have like, if you ever been stripped away to having nothing, like I never felt so low. Even like when I was living with my brother, and that was the first time I was ever being homeless, I didn't even feel that low. Like I was blessed to have a roof over my head. But it's different when you live in a different state and you're staying with somebody you don't even really know like that, and you're sitting over there trying to tell them your situation, but you really can't because you don't know like what the outcome may be. Y'all, that man took care of me for 6 months. I was supposed to leave like a few weeks after that. Financial situation, I had no money. I never hit the next level in my business where I was able to receive residual income, because my business, they built off of residual income, and I was just like right there to actually like, you know, level up to the next level, but I never hit it. So I'm like, man, like I don't want him to feel like I'm a burden. Like I literally grind. So in Vegas, I was stripped to the lowest point possible. I didn't have no phone. Like I had no phone service. I didn't even have money to eat. I used to walk an hour to the library just so I could have Wi-Fi every single day, until I was able to walk over to Barnes and Noble and work there. But I was banging out a business homeless. I remember like talking to my friend, and we had worked on this business called Women CEOs. Like, it was just like a supportive group for women who's in business, and I would just share my story, but nobody knew like I was literally like living with somebody I didn't know. But the blessing behind that was I fast a lot. I still fast to this day. It's just like, because you know how you're so hungry. You're so hungry for opportunities that you are willing to starve yourself to get there. And I literally only ate once a day. Like, I made sure his house was clean. I made sure that I made sure that I cooked for him, but just basically showing him my appreciation and just thank you. Like, you know, you didn't have to do this. Like, family members was questioning, like, why is he still helping me out? And it was this one time we was having this conversation. He was just like, I'm just your guardian angel. And I've never knew that. Like, I never knew that people that don't know you will support you the best way that they can. And I am forever thankful for Wise. And I don't talk to him often, but every time I do talk to him, it's just like, it's always good, positive energy. And and even like, I don't really have bad relationships with people. It's like, you know how people are in your life for a reason, and people are in your life for a season, and it's just, people have blessed me on my journey, and I had to learn over time that people that you don't know from a can of paint are going to help you more than your sibling or your cousin or your mother or your father or whatever the case may be, because they see where you're going and they want to support you moving forward. Some people see where you came from and they know like your flaws and stuff, and they'll base what you went through in the past to decide if they're going to help you in the future. I didn't know any of these people. All the people who have helped me, majority of the people who have helped me on my journey, I didn't know them from a can of paint. So that's why, like, I feel like with what I got going on, I'm helping the masses in my own way, because I have to share my story, because I'm very introverted. I'm very quiet. I don't really talk to a lot of people. I'm viewed like funny acting sometimes. And that's not even the case. Like, my thing is, it's just that I've been through so much, and the value of what I hold, the people, because y'all don't understand, like, I've been in rooms, I've associated, I've been mentored, I've been exposed to so many things that somebody from a 9-to-5 have yet to experience. Because I betted on myself, and I went out there and I was really looking, like I was searching for an answer to my life. Like, why is it that I'm not in a better position? And why is it that Johnny is in a better position than me? Like, why is it this and why is it that? It was so many questions that I needed answers. And until I betted on myself and I went out there and I fight it and I looked for it, that was when I found my answer. I have to be surrounded by people who are going to feed me information and guide me, because a lot of stories that you guys hear is someone always has the ugliest version before and ugliest situation, and they overcame it and they hit a level of where you like, dang, like, how'd you get up there?